Want to wear one-of-a-kind gorgeous jewelry that also happens to give back to people and the planet? Look no further than Beaumont Jewelry Collective, a curated online fine jewelry collection featuring incredible pieces from 8 different designers. Whether you're looking for a gift for a loved one or treating yourself to something special, they'll have something beautiful and sparkly that'll be sure to catch your eye. Join their quest to make a positive impact through each designer piece at Beaumont.jewelrycollective.com. That's Beaumont.jewelrycollective.com.
Today on CityCast Portland, we're discussing the latest in the back and forth over some nasty texts seen at City Hall, the major new labor contract at OHSU, the plan to fix Jefferson High School's enrollment woes, and more in our news lightning round. Plus, we'll dive into our mailbag and hear from you, our listeners, and share a few of our top event picks for the week ahead. Joining me on this midweek news roundup is our very own senior producer, Giulia Fiaoni. It's Wednesday, January 21st. I'm executive producer John Notarianni in for Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Hello, and welcome to the Midweek News Roundup, where we take a look at some of the stories that you might have missed over the last couple days. Julia, how you doing?
Good. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How was your long weekend?
It was honestly pretty nice. How was yours?
It was good. I've been traveling. I'm actually recording from Nebraska right now, hanging out with some extended fam for the next couple days. But yeah, it's good. It's funny to be in a different part of the country where it's actually like bitterly cold in the winter. I feel like I've gotten so used to avoiding that in Portland.
Oh, it's been so sunny too. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Well, today we are walking through 5 of the news headlines that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And we're going to do them fast. We are timing ourselves. We're going to be aiming for 60 seconds per story. How are you feeling about it?
This first one's really going to kill me because there's so much to explain in context. So I'm going to see if I could do my best, but may have to cheat a little bit, just forewarning.
Okay, well, let me count you into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
So this first headline is from the Portland Mercury, and it's an update from the story we discussed on Friday about reporter Jeremiah Hayden discovering racist and vulgar text messages between local real estate broker Brian Owendoff and other conservative political activists while sitting near him at a city council meeting this month. And this wasn't the first time that Owendoff's text caught Hayden's eye. He also noticed text exchange between Owendoff and Councilor Dan Ryan last November. Basically, Ryan had repeated messages sent to him from Owendoff to the council during a city council meeting right before a vote on a rental price-fixing software ban. The Mercury asked Ryan to respond to all of this last week before publishing an article breaking it down, to which Ryan responded with a vague excuse for his relationship with Owendoff and didn't really address the issue at hand. City Council gave him a hard time about it in a meeting that followed, and his reaction was to blame the Mercury for not giving him enough time or providing context, which the Mercury... Ooh, I still got a little bit left.
Did you even get into it? I feel like you didn't even make it to the story.
I'm at the end of the background of this saga. So he basically said to council that he was pretty upset at the Mercury. This is Councilor Dan Ryan speaking, for not giving him enough time or providing context for the situation, which the Mercury proved through extensive reporting that was not true. And then on Thursday, here we are with the news, Councilor Ryan sent the Mercury an apology. So this whole thing was quite the saga, but I do want to read Councilor Ryan's apology just to give the final end note of context here. So he said, quote, "With reflection, I know I wasn't my best self after a marathon council session Wednesday, and I apologize for the unfair criticism I leveled at the Mercury and its reporter. Had I known what the text messages said, I would have been clear. The name calling by Owendoff is completely unacceptable, and my colleagues who were assailed deserve an apology. Nobody should use this language in public or private or anywhere. I certainly respect the pressures reporters are under to meet deadlines, and my office has the commitment to reply to as many inquiries as we can. Unfortunately, tight schedules and deadlines can make it challenging to understand important context." So that was the final end note in that entire back and forth for that whole of last week.
Well, thank you for filling us in. And that took nearly 3 minutes, Julia. So failed at the assignment at hand, but I appreciate all the background and context.
I warned you.
Yeah, a couple thoughts. Huge shout out to the Mercury for following this and making this story known to all of us. I have some sympathy that like sometimes you just fuck up and say something that you shouldn't, and like good on Dan Ryan for apologizing, but like, reporters are always asking public officials for response on things last minute. That is not an unusual thing. That's just part of the game. We are all working with insane deadlines. The excuse of like, I was rushed. I was hurried through this, deciding what to say. That's just how it always is. Well, I'm ready to get into my story. Do you want to give me a count in, please?
Yes. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, this one comes from a reporting by Andrew Schwartz at Willamette Week. After about a year of negotiations, workers in OHSU's largest union have now accepted a new labor contract. It's a big deal. It covers about 8,000 OHSU workers across patient care, administration, and food services. The big deal headline out of this contract is a pretty substantial minimum wage boost for union members. Rises immediately from $18 to $20 an hour and will gradually increase up to $25 an hour by the middle of 2028. Also looking at across-the-board raises of 3 to 4% per year for the next 3 years. And members get a $4,500 ratification bonus. Basically a reward saying, like, thank you for getting this done and for not going on strike. The leaders of the union said it was basically the best outcome they could have hoped for. They hope that this sort of sets a new benchmark for minimum wage in Portland and for other unions. And it was overwhelmingly approved, about 48% of voting members.
Ooh, right on the mark.
Final fact, the agreement takes effect February 9th.
There we go.
Yeah, a little bit of good news. I mean, I feel like we often talk about labor stories that just go on and on and on. And this contract has been, under negotiation for nearly a year. So, yeah, congratulations to everybody who has a new contract at OHSU.
Yeah, that is such a crazy thing when that happens. You're like, oh, they didn't have to go on strike this time? It's very... I am very, very excited to see this go through. And it's just some good news, some rare good news in our just very, very brutal cycle as of lately. And guess what, John? I have some more good news.
I was going to say, don't you have some more good news coming for us?
I do. In this next headline, you ready to count me in?
Yes. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this next one comes from Joanna Ho at Willamette Week, and they're talking about how the Portland School Board approved new attendance boundaries to boost Jefferson High School's enrollment, and most significantly, voted to unanimously end a long-standing policy that lets students in the Jefferson attendance boundary have the option to choose to go elsewhere since 2011, shrinking their enrollment numbers. So this comes after enrollment has already fallen to under 400 students and basically has created quite a bit of suffering at Jefferson since the 80s from different desegregation and district policies. So this all means today's 7th graders living inside the boundary will be the first class to be affected by this change. And parents, administrators, and faculty are hopeful that these changes alongside a $466 million modernization plan will revitalize Jefferson.
Nice. Just like 2 seconds under. You got it on that one.
Yes. I made up for the round one.
I am so wildly in favor of this and so happy to see this go through. I mean, I can accept that the dual enrollment system maybe made sense historically, but like it is such a vestige of systemic racism. This is a system that exists to unfairly privilege certain people. And like change is hard. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to be an easy switch for the school or for the families or, for the people that have relied on this institution for years and rely on the Portland public school system. But, it paves the way for a better future. Not that long ago, there were whispers that Jefferson might close. And the fact that they figured out a way to make this happen, shout out to Superintendent Kimberly Armstrong for pushing it through.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And I just want to read this quote from the article that Joanna Ho wrote because it really captures the tension for a lot of families. And this is what she said. For some families, it was a reckoning between their liberal values and where their own kids would go to school. Some parents drew the line at sending their kids into a building that currently lacks comprehensive programming and extracurriculars, which we could talk forever about all of that. We've spoken about it before in previous episodes, but I would highly recommend jumping into Joanna's reporting and reading a little bit more about what's going on there, because this is a really big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is on PPS now. They promised to scale up academic and extracurriculars at the school, and it is on them to make good and to really enhance those programs in the way that they promised. I think we are going to be watching that very, very closely over the next couple of years.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Giulia, let's take a quick break and then more news of the week.
Do you have a bicycle stored inside that's always in the way like a bad roommate? Maybe even a herd of bikes taking up way too much space in the garage? You can fit your bike in 1/3 the space with a Flatten Your Bike kit from Flatbike. Their thin stem instantly folds your handlebars 90 degrees with no tools, while their Flatbike pop-off pedals release in seconds, making your bike easier to maneuver and more theft resistant. Because who's gonna ride off on your bike with no pedals? Now, any place is a great place for your bike because it's flat on demand. That's portable adventure from Flatbike. Learn more at flatbike.com. That's flatbike.com. A new year is the perfect time for a fresh start. If you've been wanting to improve your team's work dynamics and communication, and no one has taken you up on a top golf outing, check out Skill Charter. They're a locally owned leadership development company that's already helped colleagues at Portland State, Wild Cannabis, and Nonstop Health reconnect, reset, and actually work better together. Skill Charter's workshops are fun, affordable, and designed to create real lasting change long after everyone goes back to the office. They help growing organizations build strong teams by providing the space to finally have the kinds of conversations you never have time for. They bring the structure, facilitation, clarity, practical tools, and plenty of humor. You just have to bring your people. To learn more, explore case studies, or connect with co-founders Kate and Corin, go to skillcharter.com. That's skillcharter.com. Don't fast forward me. This isn't an ad, I swear. It's a job offer. We're looking to hire a full-time audience development manager who loves this city, loves the show, and knows how to get people excited about great local stories. You'd be making content on social media, brokering partnerships, helping set up events, just doing things that would grow listener engagement. So if you're creative, thoughtful, and actually plugged into what Portland cares about, you might be a great fit. Again, full-time, very competitive pay and benefits. The application deadline is January 30th. You can learn more and apply at citycast.fm/jobs. That's citycast.fm/jobs.
All right, Giulia, it's my turn. Can you count me in?
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Shout out to Mike Rogaway at the Oregonian for this one. A few weeks ago on the show, I talked about the new Oregon law to allow all striking workers to get unemployment benefits. Big deal. We're the first state in the country to do it in this way. Well, that new law could be facing a challenge from the federal government, but we don't exactly know, as with many things with the federal government. So recently, the U.S. Department of Labor wrote a letter to several states saying that striking workers must be, quote, able to work, available for work, and actively seeking work to qualify for unemployment aid, and that states that don't comply could lose federal grants and business tax credits, which could be like a ton of money, over $100 million for the state and like $500 million for businesses that rely on federal money for unemployment benefits. Well, Oregon says it's looking into it. They believe that the state already complies, and the Department of Labor has not yet confirmed whether Oregon is complying with federal standards. So another classic, like, you might be in so much trouble and we might be taking away your federal money, but we're not telling you yet.
Do you think that this is just another one of those moments where it's all bark, no bite, where there may actually not be an issue at all and things are probably entirely above board and we're just creating tension around it because it's a more progressive leaning approach to labor rights?
I mean, I think that's possible. I have given up on trying to make actual predictions on this shit because it is just so all over the place, and just like the bluster of accusations and legal challenges comes so fast and furious. I hope it's that. I think it's one of those things that we still sort of have to take it seriously. But yeah, I mean, this could just be a passing thing where in 6 months we're going to forget that this ever happened. Or the state could lose an extraordinary amount of money. Nobody knows.
Oh, those are great odds here, just weighing the differences. It's It's ridiculous. Okay, John, I have another one for you. This is our last one for this run of headlines.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this next headline comes from Giulia Pettigrew at Coin, and they're talking about how Oregon-based non-alcoholic spirits company Wilderton Aperitivo is shutting down indefinitely later this month, about after 7 years in operation. They're known for being the nation's first alcohol-free distillery and tasting room, which was open in Hood River for a couple of years. The idea for the company came from the owner's interest in making drinks for social events that didn't require alcohol. But there are remaining products still on sale online through the end of this month, and there's still some products available at bars and restaurants on the West Coast until it runs out. So it's not your last chance to try it if you haven't, but they are going to be shutting down.
Perfectly on time. Beautifully done.
Nice.
This is such a bummer. I am such a fan of Wilderton. Their bittersweet aperitivo is like a summer staple in my fridge. I think the stuff that they're producing is exactly where the spirits industry is going. And like, it's just really sucks that they got caught in a business cycle. You know, what they said was a difficult business funding and financing environment, right? This isn't like backyard homemade DIY stuff. Like, to do this type of distilling is like true industrial production. It takes a lot of resources.
Yeah.
And I'm just very, very sad to see that they're going under.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it, Giulia?
No, I haven't had their spirits specifically from my knowledge, but I was going to ask, do you have a favorite NA drink that you're making right now or buying at a bar? Because I have been doing dry January, and I had a really tasty NA drink from Five and Dime on Southeast Foster. It was like this creamy coconut lime drink. Wasn't too sweet. There was a little bit of bubbles in it. And it made me think about what you've been sipping on this month, because I know you've been really getting into it. Do you have like one go-to right now?
Well, this is going to sound so ridiculous and so Portland, but me and my partner have actually gotten into making our own NA spirits.
Oh my God, of course.
So we are like actually starting with like a base of like sugar and using like gentian and like angelica root and like all of these sort of like herbal things, you know, not distilling, but like replicating like actual Amaros and like other liqueurs. So yeah, I've been sipping on a homemade non-alcoholic Campari with a little bit of grapefruit soda. And it is so good. Next time you come over, Giulia, I'll give you one.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm so glad I asked.
Well, hey, Giulia, last week we read some messages on the show from listeners just commiserating over the East Portland Border Patrol shooting that happened earlier this month, and like really just the state of things in general. And we got to talking about ideas for ways for all of us to get together and support each other. And we actually had some folks write in with their thoughts and wanted to share a few of those.
So this one's from listener JTS, and this is just for context. We actually read a very long note that they wrote to us last week on the show, which is not typical for our format. We usually only read small notes, but this one really resonated with us, and we thought it would hit home for a lot of folks. So in response to us just putting it out into the world, wondering about ways we can meet up, JT wrote, "Thank you for reading and sharing my note. It felt good to be witnessed, and I hope it helped. I'd love to meet up with y'all and others in our community. I love beer and games and puzzles. A gathering in Southeast or Northeast would be rad." So just a starting point there. And honestly, I love the puzzle idea for folks, especially that have a little bit of social anxiety. It just gives you something to do with your hands while you're chatting and getting to know someone.
Yeah.
So I could see that in the future.
Heck yeah. We also heard from Jane A. Black, who wrote in with the idea, how about an informal daily noon walk on both sides of the river for 1 month, just to quantify the level of support and feel in community with each other. Maybe do it in May since, you know, International Workers' Day and 503 Day.
Oof, that's awesome.
Little river walk. We've had river walk weather for the last week or so.
I know.
I don't know if it's going to hold up.
I know, and I feel like May is when the sun really starts to come out. So I feel like that's the perfect idea.
Yeah. We definitely want to create more opportunities for all of us to get together as a community. You know, we are a tiny team, so it's going to take a minute for us to like actually make it happening. But in the meantime, Giulia, there's so much happening around town. We went ahead and picked a few of our favorite events to share this week, which is something that I think we might start doing on the show more because there's so much to be excited about that we don't get a chance to discuss. Giulia, what are you looking at?
Okay, so I was inspired to pick this event because I was actually here seeing another band this past weekend, and I'm talking about music at the new bar Laverne's on Northeast Deacon. So they're starting to do these Sunday session music events. So every Sunday there's a band that'll start playing around 6 p.m. Like minors are allowed during that time too. So I mentioned this because when I was there last weekend with my friends playing, there were like little kids running around all in front of the stage, which is like always the cutest thing to see. So I want to encourage y'all to check out 40 Drop Few at Laverne. So they're playing this upcoming Sunday, the 25th of January at 6 p.m. And they're a Portland-based trio that plays pre-war string band, hillbilly, country blues, and jazz tunes. So we're talking banjos and fiddles, something a little bit different to maybe transport you to another world for a second. But
oh my gosh,
I love Laverne's. I'm so excited about this.
I didn't realize Laverne's was doing music. Laverne's does everything.
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of? Ron Tom's used to have that Sunday session forever. And I'm like so glad that somebody else is picking up on the idea. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I went last week. It was a blast. I'm guessing this upcoming week is going to be just as fun, but there's definitely a music hole to be filled there, John, like you pointed out. So this is super exciting.
Cool. Well, I wanted to shout out an event that is happening tonight, January 21st, and also shout out Beth Slovic at The Oregonian who turned me on to this. Tonight, author Cheryl Strayed is moderating a federal oversight and accountability town hall with 6 state attorneys general from across the country. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield is going to be there, but also the attorney generals of California, Minnesota, Maine, and Hawaii. They're all Democrats who've been like really outspoken, challenging the orders from President Trump in court. And they're just like getting together to talk about what it's like trying to like manage the federal government right now. I think it could be fascinating. And it's a town hall, so there's like time for public comment. If you have something that you've been wanting to ask all these people that are sort of from different parts of the country but are dealing with this like conflicts with the federal government, I think it's just going to be fascinating to hear from these people. That is tonight for free at Revolution Hall. You can sign up on their website.
Wow, that's such a good idea. I love that it's at Rev Hall, too. I feel like that's the perfect space for it.
Yeah, and just feels like such a wild moment to get all of these people together, you know? It feels like it could be a really special conversation.
I feel like, John, this next event I'm about to plug is like the salve to that event.
Yeah.
And it's literally called It's Gonna Be Okay. So this is this is actually a weekly free comedy show at the Eastburn. And I'm cheating a little bit. This is going into next week, but it's on Mondays. So every Monday at 8 p.m., there's a whole showcase of local comedians and some folks from out of town that put on a whole free comedy show for y'all. I think it's just a nice way to just shake off the Monday blues. So this one's coming up 8 p.m. at the Eastburn this upcoming Monday.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds great. I think we can all use a little bit of a big exhale sometimes, hopefully with some laughter.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last one I got is about the movie Train Dreams, which came out last year. Serious Academy Award contender. And I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, I know this because it was based on a book that I read maybe 15 years ago and then lost the book like immediately after reading it. And it was like one of those fever dreams. I couldn't remember what it was called. I couldn't remember who wrote it. So the book is Dennis Johnson's novella, Train Dreams. It's really delightful. And on Sunday, the 25th, at the Pam Cut Tomorrow Theater, they're hosting the first ever book movie club.
Ooh.
So you watch the film, then you sit around for a discussion of the movie and the book. It's hosted by author Margaret Malone, which just sounds really fun to like sort of have a book club, movie club all in one. The book's really short. You could totally read it between now and Sunday if you had a free evening. It's like a novella. But yeah, that's coming up. I think that just sounds like a fun way to spend a Sunday.
Oh, definitely. I know exactly what you're talking about, though, John, of like a fever dream experience of reading a book that you can't remember what it was, where it doesn't feel real. That's definitely happened to me before. And I think it would be even trippier to then see an event about it and have to catch up and fill in all the details. But yeah, that sounds like so much fun.
Well, if any of these events inspire you to get out, awesome. If they aren't your speed, you should totally subscribe to our CityCast Portland newsletter because our editor, Rachel Monahan, does an amazing job compiling tons of events every single day. It's a great way to plan your week. And I'm sure that there will be something there for you. You can sign up for the newsletter at portland.citycast.fm. Awesome. Well, we would also love to hear from all of you of what you are getting into this weekend or stuff that you see coming up that is really cool that you think other people should know about. Shoot us an email, portland@citycast.fm. Well, Giulia, thanks for breaking down the news with me, and I'll see you at our daily meeting.
Thanks, John.
Awesome. Well, that's all for us today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate us, or leave a review? And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.